Item 6 is proposed ordinance number 2012-0261, an ordinance relating to the district court relocation to the Norm Mailing Regional Justice Center remodel project, making an appropriation and a reappropriation of $7,860,318 to the Building Repair and Replacement Fund.
Thank you very much. This is an ordinance, as was just stated, about the relocation of our district court to the Norm Mailing Regional Justice Center. A very important issue. And but because it's an ordinance, we're required to have a public hearing, and I'm hopeful that anyone who speaks to this item will speak to the elements in the ordinance. And we have a couple people signed up to speak. They are Sam Bellamio and Alex Zimmerman.
Yes, council members, welcome back from Labor Day weekend. My name is Sam Bellamio. I'm here with StandUP-America, and I would like to talk about the relocation, especially the $7.8 million that we want to spend for the rehabilitation of the building or for repairs, because we're about to spend money for a correction center that houses judges who are elected by the people, who are answerable to the people, and everything comes from judges. They stop the corruption that we see everywhere, but they're never answerable to the people. So how can we maintain this third? Yeah? Oh, okay. I thought you were asking me a question. Thank you. So our jail population is growing. We have no way to check our judges or ask them questions about why they've ruled in certain ways, or about administrative problems, or even about the $7.8 million that will be spent to repair the building or fund programs within the Justice Center. So they're not answerable to the people. It's complete corruption of the Constitution. They should be appointed into the position if they're not supposed to be answerable to the people. If we're electing them as citizens, we should have the right to hold them accountable. But yet we can't hold them accountable because they are ex parte. They don't ever allow us in any of their meetings. The Public Meeting Act requires that we allow to be in these meetings, but we don't have to be because they're judges. We need you, the council, to help check this third branch, the judicial branch, to make sure that the people can maintain the relationship with their government. But because we're willing to remodel and relocate and keep the justice centers alive and let them operate separately from what the public opinion is, or even comments, what can we do besides come to you and beg for you to help us reconnect with our elected judges? Not appointed judges, elected judges. Our prison population has grown. King County's prison population hasn't, but the state prison population has, and you're renting beds out, and these judges are allowed to put these people in those jails. So I need to talk to these judges. I need to be able to talk to you. In this committee, Ms. Lambert's committee, I can't even speak to her openly about these issues. I have to come to you, the full council, before, because you don't have your committees open for me to openly address you about concerns I have with judges, or I have concerns with the judicial system in King County, or the rules regulating within. So because of your inability to open up these committees, I have to come to you at full council. So I ask you to start bridging that gap between citizens and its government. Thank you.
Thank you, Sam. Alex?
How many times you promise us watches for 2 minutes? How many times? How many years? If you don't have $5, I can buy this for you. Sorry. My name is Alex Zimmerman, and I represent StandUP-America. And StandUP-America stand up for ordinary people. Guys, we spend $7 million in system and totally corrupt to the bones. We have a pure fascism with gangster Gestapo principle. And I want to talk about branch number 3. We have 3 separate branches. In one branch is judges. We need opinion. We need judge opinion. We have 100 judges who never report to people. Never. 25 years I live here, never I hear one judge. And exactly chief of judge. What is his opinion about the $7 million? It's not $7 what is cost these watches. We're talking about $7 million. I want what is Judge Bill here, and I want to ask him what is your opinion about this. It's never happened. One branch totally exclude from business, from us Constitution. I don't have word how is this possible. You know what this mean? You one branch, executive another branch, in branch of number 3, judges totally exclude out. No report to people who elect these judges. By definition, judge is supposed to be protect Constitution. Ignore Constitution is a pure criminal, and you support this for many years. So, pardon, you acting like a criminal too. 7 million, a ton of money. It's a people money. We need to know what is judge's opinion about this. Maybe just stand up and talk, no, 7 million is not enough. Maybe this is too much. This never happened. When you start acting like a civilized people, when you stand up, you start acting like supposed to be doing, like a business people supposed to be doing, with common sense. We don't see this for the last 25 years. You bring all country to collapse. With your stupid corruption, what is don't have limit right now, come to absurd level. So why we only don't need talking about this? It's a room supposed to be with 100 people who will spoken about the $7 million and ask judges, what is your opinion about the $7 million? It's a huge money, guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the audience that would like to speak on this ordinance? Seeing no one, the public hearing is closed, and I call on Councilmember Lambert to move the item.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to move proposed ordinance number 2012-0261.
Thank you. Would you like to begin the discussion on this matter?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. I certainly would like to do this. This is a ordinance that the judges have worked on with not only our branch of government, but also the executive branch with our facilities for nearly 10 years. So I've heard a lot from them, as all of us have, both on TV as well as in various meetings. This agenda was strongly supported by both the District Court, the Superior Court, and the Sheriff's Office. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
You are welcome. Do any additional members have questions or comments? Judge Harn, did you want to say anything about this matter?
Good afternoon. I'm Judge Karina Harn. I'm the presiding judge for King County District Court, and I'm raising this. Thank you.
Can you even count the number of public meetings that were held as a prelude over these previous 10 years to
Hundreds.
this? Hundreds of meetings. Okay.
I think hundreds, easily. I've participated in well over 50, I can
Yourself.
honestly say.
Right.
And that's just, and I'm not the only one who's been working on this.
Yes.
So, thank you.
I'd like to invite Judge Harn back up to the podium so I can ask her, as precedent to this meeting, about this Auburn City Courts becoming part of the district court system. Were there any public meetings anywhere held?
Auburn had numerous public meetings to consider this, and I think they generated about 400 pages of paperwork that was also shared with their city council members, and I was at least at 5 or 6 meetings that were public hearings in the city of Auburn regarding this. So it was well, and there were write-ups in the press, in the media in Auburn as well. So I think it's been thoroughly
That takes
vetted.
us to item number 10 on today's agenda. Will the clerk please read this measure into the record?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Item 10 is proposed ordinance number 2012-0281, an ordinance approving and adopting the collective bargaining agreement and memorandum of agreement negotiated by and between King County and International Brotherhood of Teamsters Local 117, professional and technical administrative employees, representing employees in the departments of Adult and Juvenile Detention, Development and Environmental Services, Executive Services, King County Information Technology, Natural Resources and Parks, Public Health, Transportation, and King County Elections, and establishing the effective date of said agreements.
Thank you very much. Because this is an ordinance, we are going to have a public hearing, and there are a couple persons who have signed up to speak to this ordinance. So at this time, I'm going to call them forward. They are Sam Bellarmino and Alex Zimmerman. Mr. Bellarmino.
Yes, my name is Sam Bellarmino. I'm here with StandUP-America. And this topic that I'm speaking about continues on from it's the same thread as this previous speech I just gave. It's the point that we can hear them on TV was made in the last ordinance I spoke to. that the judges, we can hear them on TV or they've been present at things, but there's no Q&A. So my problem, I know, that was my preface to this ordinance. I was just saying, reiterating what I said in the previous ordinance in case people weren't, and the public weren't paying attention then. So getting to this ordinance, that's the same problems that we can speak, or we can hear you speak on TV, but we can't speak to you. Mr. Ferguson's committee has been closed, the Oversight Committee. I haven't had a chance to speak directly to this in this committee, asking for meetings, several meetings for the past 2 years been denied. He's been sued 3 times by us as well, trying to get a communication going with you, the council members, about issues we find important. We want your committees open to the general public, but yet we can't. We have you running for another election so that way you can have your ruling seats with the people that can't address you openly. This ordinance is, I disapprove of it because I don't get the chance to speak to your committee level. And I'm glad you find it funny, Mr. Ferguson, because you're the most important person to this community right now. Actually, all of you are, and you're part of the group that's important. You're supposed to be public servants, supposed to be open to what we, the citizens, have to say to you. And you're never open. Your committee is always closed. You don't care. Your doors are always closed. We've been asking and asking. Your assistants know who we are because we email you consistently. I've journaled those. I've called you consistently. I've journaled those for a couple of years. So this ordinance isn't supposed to be passed until the committee is open and us citizens can directly address you. I don't find it funny that I'm still saying the same thing after a year. I don't find it funny because you, my servants, don't listen to me, your boss. Yeah, I heard that. Yeah, exactly. It is funny. It's laughable. We went from a constitution back to what we fought for back 200 years ago. So only thing I got there to say is this ordinance cannot be passed until you open up your committees, all of them, to general public comment. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Zimmerman.
Yeah, hi. My name is Alex Zimmerman and I represent StandUP-America. And StandUP-America stand up for ordinary people. Guys, it's very interesting what we have today talking. You know what I mean? Mr. Ferguson, for my understanding, won't be a state attorney. Supposed to be protect Constitution in all state. Wow. How you can protect Constitution in all state, Mr. Ferguson, when you cannot make appointment with us for more than 2 years? Dozen time we request your appointment, always ignore. Half dozen complain, always ignore. 3 times we sue you, always ignore. How you can represent people in state?
Point of order.
All right.
How you can represent people in state?
Just a minute, Mr. Zimmerman.
How you can represent people in state?
Wait a minute, Mr. Zimmerman. I said, could you please be quiet? I have a member that has asked for a point of order, and I need to hear it in order to rule on it. Councilmember Patterson, why did you want to?
Thank you. I have a question, Mr. Chair, about the public testimony.
All right, go ahead.
So this is an honest question. I don't really know the answer. Is there anything, Mr. Chair, in our rules that speaks to our desire to implore the public to not personalize their comments in such a way that it comes across as an attack on individual council members?
Well, I mean, when you look at federal law, state law, the rules are really quite general in terms of citizens being able to criticize their elected official. Now, to the extent of whether or not there's a point beyond which they can go that's clearly been defined and ruled upon.
RCV 4230. Read RCV 4230. Read RCV 4230.
Wait a minute. I thought I was talking.
Thank you.
I'd have to ask our legal consultant, Mr. Brewer.
Where is my 2 minutes?
Oh, here you come. Just a moment. We're trying to clarify a matter.
It may be fine. The public testimony may be fine, but I just would like to have a clarification on that.
Can I speak?
No.
Oh, I see.
Thank you. For the record, Jim Brewer, Legal Counsel. The council members asked whether the council rules contain limitations on the scope of public testimony, in effect, and the rules require that testimony be germane to the legislation being considered at the public hearing. They do not contain an additional limitation along the lines that the council member was asking about, that is, whether they are either harsh or other even unfounded criticisms of members, as Mr. Goss has indicated, given the scope of First Amendment rights of free speech. So long as testimony is germane to an ordinance, the fact that it might be harsh or personally critical would not be grounds under your rules for excluding it.
All right. So it's up to the chair, Mr. Brewer, to determine whether or not testimony is germane. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And that's solely within the power of the chair's discretion to make that determination.
Yes, that is correct.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
You're welcome.
Sorry to interrupt. I needed clarification there. Thank you.
All right. Proceed. We stopped your clock at where I interrupted.
Thank you very much, sir. I very appreciate you for this. We come in talking right now about not Ferguson. We're talking about committee. What is he chair? Accountability. When he have chance, give us chance, spoke with accountability chair. I'm not care about Ferguson or another co-counsel. We once spoke about accountability, government accountability. And Mr. Ferguson right now chair. And for 2 years before, he chair too.
Mr. Chair?
So, I'm sorry.
Mr. Chair?
This is not about name. It's about position.
Hold on.
Mr. Chair? I must be lost, or somebody's
Councilmember
lost.
Lambert.
I thought we were talking about a collective bargaining agreement 2012-0281. Is that what we're talking about today?
Yes.
Well, Mr. Chair, if that's what is before me, that's the business before me, I don't hear anything about this being talked about now. And so I think that somebody is off track, and maybe we need to get back on track. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right. Again, Mr. Zimmerman, we're talking about the Brotherhood of Teamsters Local 117 contract that our committee has reviewed and recommended that we adopt, and we have public testimony now.
Absolutely.
Asking, what do you think about that ordinance?
Exactly. This is exactly what I explained to you. What is I think about this ordinance? How I can think about this ordinance when I cannot believe people who represent me? It's a point. You know what I mean? It's exactly what is I talking. You want what is I prove something? What is you make decision when I don't believe you? Don't have sense. So Stand Up America exactly ask very simple question. Can we speak about accountability for committee who represent accountability? And happens so Mr. Ferguson, a chair of this accountability committee. That's it. And before for 2 years he different chair. So it's not a point. I'm not care about name. And Stand Up America not care about name or personal. We not want be a personal. We not want use name. We want use chair of accountability committee. That's it. We want speak about government accountability. If we cannot speak for years about this meeting close and close and close. You always find a reason. And everything what is we need is 2 minutes. Explain us opinion, what is government doing right now? What is people who work for government doing now? Or don't want doing this? All collapse everything what is we doing this. You block us. So right now you find excuse how we can be again and again excuse us from this situation. Very simple. Open to each committee chance speak for 2 minutes like Bellevue, like Kirkland, like all city doing, include Seattle. In Seattle, we speak every committee right now. And we're talking about this many times. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Zimmerman.
Thank you very much.
We're on item number 10, Ordinance 2012-0281, a collective bargaining agreement with the Teamsters. Is there anyone else in the audience that would like to speak on this matter? Seeing no one, the public hearing is closed, and I call upon Councilmember Ferguson to move the item.
Mr. Chair, if I could interrupt for just a second, as a point of personal privilege with regard to the testimony that just concluded, and it won't come as a surprise to members of this council, all 9 of us. In fact, we do open up committee proceedings to testimony from citizens, and most recently in my committee that I have the privilege of chairing, the Transportation, Economy and Environment Committee, we had public testimony with regard to service changes that Metro Transit was proposing with regard to the implementation of voter-approved rapid ride. Mr. Bellamino and Mr. Zimmerman both appeared and both spoke in the same sort of general rant that we hear week in and week out here. I raise this only because immediately following Mr. Zimmerman's presentation, a citizen by the name of Melanie Smith appeared for the first time in committee and raised a specific issue with regard to the change in her route with regard living in my district, and we were very close to having to finish that work. We immediately took up Ms. Smith's concern, worked with Metro, and within 2 short weeks were able to change to to a large extent, not fully what she asked to have changed, the stop on her bus route relative to the implementation of Rapid Ride. I say that only because when citizens come and speak directly to issues that are of great importance to them, even when we're very close to the final implementation, this council, through its committee process, responded and did the right thing. So I just wanted to say to those listening in, the general impression that's left week after week by these two folks is very much contrary to the actual experience that we have here, and our citizens see us as very responsive, even when it means changing bus routes to better serve them. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
You're welcome. Now back, Councilmember Patterson.
And I also for the record, wanted to make something clear for my constituents, so I appreciate the opportunity, Mr. Chair. I wanted to let you know that the individuals that have spoken, Mr. Bellamino and Zimmerman, have called and made appointments to come and visit me in my office. Mr. Zimmerman canceled his appointment, which I had on my agenda. He didn't show. And Mr. Bellarmine did show. Bellamio. Mr. Bellamio and Mia. What's her last? I can't remember. Mia Jacobson. They both came in. We had a long conversation. They've been to my office. Mia and I have spoken on the phone, had very long conversations. So just thank you for letting me say that. For the sake of my constituents, I wanted to let them know that it just wasn't true from my experience anyway.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Ferguson, thank you for indulging us.
Now to Mr. Ferguson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move approval of proposed ordinance 2012-028